So I thought I'd make a short video here talking about these devices because I'm often seeing comparisons in YouTube suggestions or different reading suggestions, see articles comparing them, or YouTube videos making comparisons between them. So it's not quite going to be one of those. I'm not going to go through the numbers and rattle those off. You can read those all day long. I'm just going to talk about my personal experience here with them. And that is, I almost never use the Raspberry Pi. It's pretty much always the Arduino. First off, as far as those comparisons, I always get a little annoyed every time I see the comparison because they're not comparable devices. A Raspberry Pi is a system on chip, as usually referred to as SoC, and an Arduino, or a Chinese knockoff Arduino version of Arduino, like I have on here, is a microcontroller. They're two entirely different things. The only thing they even have in common really is the GPIO pins, the general purpose in out pins, which is just one small aspect of this system over here, whereas that's pretty much all we have on the microcontroller. And if we're, since that's what the only commonality between them, if we're comparing them, the Arduino, even the cheap knockoffs, we have the analog inputs, PWMs, so they're not really even that comparable on the GPIO pins. But I almost never use this, and the reason is, if one of my projects calls for a system, I tend to just use my regular system. True, my laptop doesn't have GPIO pins, but I just use the Arduino as GPIO pins for my laptop. So that's really what this video is. I was just going to kind of step through the two ways I do that most often. That's either with PowerShell or with Python. Running on the laptop to tie the Arduino right into the system. So to start with, I set up this just a little setup, another Chinese knockoff Uno. That was a point I was going to make later in the video. Well, I might as well make it now. And I'm not going to cover it in this video, but I mean, it's 2020, right? Grab Bluetooth or Wi-Fi and then do this from the phone or tablet, and not even instead of the laptop. Or, well, the Bluetooth will work. Well, Bluetooth and Wi-Fi is going to work with any of the devices, really. So it kind of extends to the phone and tablet, which can be quite easy. But I'm just going to talk about the laptop today. So I have this little device. So let's take a look at the code I put for this light. Just a basic flashing light, the standard Arduino example. So, first thing in this scene, I guess I should offer apologies for the phone video of the computer screen, but I'm doing something on Arduino, which means I'm going to need to also get video of the LED flashing. And the screencast just wasn't working for that. I tried embedding the webcam in the screencast, and it wouldn't pick up quite right. So, sorry about this, but you can see the code's really short here. Typically I have a longer one. Just initialize some pins, set up the serial port, and then every pass through the loop just checks if there's something coming down the serial port. If there is, I usually use this one, read string into a new line, and just make sure whatever I'm sending ends with a new line. I'll talk about that in a moment, why I do it that way. There's different alternatives. And then just a couple commands. The light on, the light off, or return the status. So nothing fancy there, but if you think about it, the one that I would have liked to shown that's way kind of complicated for a short video like this, it doesn't take much to go ahead and write up a bunch of these to completely control every pin on all the features on the Arduino from the serial port. Basically, you just have to come up with a good set of instructions to send and things to receive. But it's not that many lines of code. So I already uploaded this. So obviously to turn these on, have to do the one-handed typing, green underscore on, then serial port ends a new line, set it for the speed I set the code to, and you just, then when I hit enter, the LED came on. Or green off, hit enter, LED went off, and while I'm at it, might as well show that last command. Probably should have started with that one, right? We usually want to check and see what the status is, and it's going to return ready. So, controlling it from the serial port, but doing that from the Arduino IDE serial port is kind of an odd thing. So let's look at a couple of other ways to do that from a Windows PC. So before we move over to the laptop, one thing we do need to check on the Arduino is make sure you know which port it's on. So I'm on serial port COM7. And here is the stripped down version of what's needed to do in Python. So I have the module PySerial installed, so import that. And when you do it from Python, it requires boot up time on the Arduino. So the Arduino has to boot up. And then I just created the serial object on that COM line at the baud rate that was set, and it boots up. So I've found that 3 seconds is plenty of time for the Arduino to boot up. So I'm going to go ahead and run this. Give it a couple seconds, and yeah, it should be booted up now, and the command prompt's back. So I created that variable, so if I enter that, so com.write, whoops, it's so much easier to type with 2 hands. And one thing with Python, it has to be a binary string that's going. So just a lowercase b before the string to convert it to a binary string, and I'll enter status. ATUS. And, well, instead of pulling back up, I'll just mention it. I did set it, I think I pointed out that I always use that read until new line, so it has to be a binary string and then in a new line. So doing it in Python, those have to go in directly. So enter that command. It returned a number for how many bytes were sent. Then com.readline. Okay, no arguments here. And then you can see it returned ready. So it returned that status, but it returned it as a binary string with a carriage return and a new line. So not hard to strip those out of there, or if you're sending numbers back and forth, you can just go ahead and cast them into a number, and is the easiest way to communicate if you do it in Python. What was the other, just real quick, so com.write, again, in Python, it has to be a binary string. Green underscore on. In a new line, that way you don't have to wait on timeout. Without the new line, it just waits on a timeout, which by default is a couple seconds. A very long wait. So you can see the LED's off, and when I run that command, turn the LED on. So just passing commands down the serial port. So not too hard with Python. One thing you do want to remember, and this applies to all of them, is to close that line. Why'd that get blurry? So com.close. Again, sorry about the phone video. If I come out, okay, that's a little less blurry. So com.close. Just make sure you close the serial port, because if not, the next time you upload it, so if you go back to like the Arduino IDE and upload changes to the code, the first time it'll fail because the Python one was still trying to use that. And that'll apply on the next one we're going to look at as well. So I thought I'd start with Python because a lot of people like that language. Okay, and so here's the other way of doing this. This time I found a little stand to set the phone on, so hopefully I can type like normal. There's a lot more going on here. But I started with Python because that's a very popular language. A lot of people know it. But you can also use PowerShell for this. So just the direct Windows controlling language. Get board names. So we can pull up, see which serial ports we have available here. And I know the Arduino's on COM7, so I'm going to use that one. And then I can just create a new variable. I'll just call it ARD, short for Arduino. And that's going to be a new object on system.io.ports.serial port. And the serial port it's on is COM7. Has a baud rate of 115,200. We're going between a Windows system and it's an Arduino, so there's not any parity, so none for parity. 8 for our byte size, or communication size. The communication size is going to be 1 byte, so we need 8 for the number of bits that are being sent. And then the word 1. I'm not sure what this fills in, but it needs to be there. So there's a 1 there, and for some reason spelled out as a word. But the other ones, the serial port, the baud rate, the Arduino code is set to, the parity, which Arduino, by default, Arduino is not going to have parity checking on the serial port, and the number of bits for each chunk of communication, which is an Arduino, so we're just going to use our 1 byte. And then this 1 at the end. I should really probably should have looked into what that does before this. So we can then come in and that variable, Arduino.open, does the same thing. Oh, I didn't move the camera quick enough. Those lights just flashed, so it just rebooted. Probably could have been a little quicker moving the camera. See if that'll come in focus a little bit better. Nope, it's not wanting to focus, and I can zoom in. And there it goes, kinda. Again, apologies for this. I'll try to say what I'm typing. Maybe if I zoom in, it'll try to focus a little. Oh, I had a feeling that would work. So, we created a new object on this port, opened it, and now we can do stuff with it. So like ARD.WriteLine. And well, this time I'll start with status. So WriteLine, send the word status, and notice, unlike Python, we don't have to convert that to a binary string. Because we already told it we're sending 8 bits at a time, 8-bit chunks down the communication port. So it'll handle that as a binary string automatically from PowerShell. And read line. Yes, I did put line breaks in there this time. And you can see it returned ready. So now you see the lights off. then ARD dot write line, and I'll write the line green underscore on. And I got the light on. So I guess might as well turn it off. Right line green underscore off. Uh-oh. Whoops, typo. R dot right line, not right len, green underscore off. And now the light flashed off. And then just like in Python, you want to remember to close it. That way PowerShell finishes the communication. Otherwise, the next time you try to communicate with the Arduino, it will fail the first time. As it messes up this communication, that it'll work the second time. But I wanted to share those. That's it kind of combines it, right? So with the Raspberry Pi, the advantage on the Raspberry Pi is the whole system part, the system on chip. But you can see I'm just using my regular system. So instead of system on chip, it's more like system and chip, and kind of get those same things. So oftentimes when a project would have been great for Raspberry Pi, I've already put it together as a PowerShell file. Communicating with the Arduino by the time I realized, oh, this would have been good practice with the Raspberry Pi since I haven't used that in forever and I've probably forgot half the stuff on there. But I just thought I'd share this video, make a little comment about that, because I keep seeing those things comparing them, and Arduinos and Raspberry Pis aren't really comparable, and I thought I'd just share what I usually do and with them, which is almost always use the Arduino, unless I sit down specifically thinking, I haven't used the Pi in forever, I should practice some stuff with that, which requires hooking everything up and slows it down when I already have a system hooked up. So I often do it this way. Just thought I'd share that. Thank you.